Wow. And I thought America had some insane game shows. Today, we're skipping the usual fare of covering insane shows from the United States. We've got a show from the Hispanosphere today. El Gran Juego de Locura, or The Great Game of the Goose, was a Spanish game show franchise that aired in numerous countries. But for today, we're going to be covering the original Spanish version that aired from 1993 to 1995, then got a reboot in 1998 under the name El Nuevo Juego de la Oca, or The New Game of the Goose. And it's not because the show failed. Far from it, actually. It's because this show is so utterly batshit insane, and I've been wanting to cover it for a while. So strap yourselves in, and prepare for a game show that makes Fear Factor look like Jeopardy! Antena 3 absolutely poured their hearts out with this show. And arguably, it's one of the most classic game shows from the Hispanosphere because it was seen as hilarious. But it also needs to be said that this show has not aged well in the slightest. Humor in the mid-90s is far different than humor we are used to in 2026. The humor within the show is incredibly sexist, with challenges that could be deemed misogynistic today, and likely would be. And some of the stunts in the show would be deemed racist as well. So, to preface this, I, Duality Dustman, in no way, shape, or form condone bigotry in any fashion, whether it be racism, sexism, homophobia, or any of the sorts. This video is purely meant for commentatorial purposes, and it will stay that way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Ben, not a lot of us can speak Spanish. Not to fear, because I can speak it poorly. So any shitty mistranslation at my hands is not my fault. Blame a mix of Google Translate and being taught gringo Spanish in high school. Now, the show worked like this. The game was based around an old Spanish board game called El Juego de la Oca, a fairly basic game where the goal was to get to the end of a 63-space board. However, along the way, there were hazards. Think snakes and ladders, but the hazards were a bit more spaced out. There were different hosts throughout the series, so we're just going to say the show had a main male host and 2 female assistants. Anyway, the contestants started out with 100,000 pesetas, because this was before the introduction of the euro. Basically about $800 US at the time. For every space they moved forward, they earned 10,000 pesetas. At the end of every turn, they bet a portion, or all of their money, on if they could attempt to do a stunt. Success meant it was added. Subtraction meant deduction. However, not attempting the stunt, or refusing to go through with the punishment, meant you lost all the money accumulated to that point. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to what the squares on the show meant, shall we? First up, you have las ocas, or basically, the best squares you can land on in the show. These were on any space that was a multiple of 9. If you landed here, you progressed to the next space that was deemed an oca. Landing on space 54 meant you won the whole damn game. You also got to roll again. However, you would not win any more money for any skipped spaces. Then you have los dados, or the dice. This was a square exclusive to Season 1. This was also a progression square, as it would automatically take you to square 20. The same roll again rule was applied here. We then go to space 34, or 40 in Season 3, for the next crazy space, Pinta Cuerpos, or body painting. If you landed here, a wheel determined where you'd have the show's logo painted. It could be on your head, shoulder, stomach, or even your ass. That kind of shit is something not even the crazy-ass body mod shops in the sketchy part of my college town do. And then, we get to what might possibly be my least favorite square in the whole series. Space 47 in Season 1, in different numbers, but this appeared in all 3 seasons of the show. The fucking snake den. How did it work? Well, you were basically put into a pit of snakes, like anacondas and boa constrictors, and you had to find a way out, find the key, and escape the cage. Getting out meant you progressed a whopping 3 spaces. Yeah, no, fuck that. Snakes are easily my second biggest fear. You couldn't get me on the show if you wanted to, if you said, oh, we'll give you enough money to fly across the world right after. No fucking thank you. Keep me away from the nope ropes. Next up, we get Square 52, or the Barber. And I gotta talk about the Barber from Season 1, because this guy is a damn acid trip. His name is El Flecky, and he is absolutely insane. One particular haircut challenge scene I remember was when he said he was just going to ask his questions in Portuguese so he could guarantee he could cut the hair of the contestant. Oh yeah, how the challenge works. Basically, you're asked 3 questions. Get them right, and you're safe. Get them wrong, and
Por favor, música.
But, for some reason I don't get, in Season 2, they replaced the eccentric Flecky with a Dali knockoff named Risotin. But what Risotin lacked in humor, he surely made up for in downright insane haircuts. One space that always remained was Muerte, or death. Occurring near the end of the board, if you landed here, you went all the way back. Basically cutting your chances of winning the game by a lot. And if the players hadn't suffered enough, the final obstacle before someone won the game was the Roulette Cruelle, or the Cruel Roulette. Basically, a player was strapped to a wheel, and the wheel was spun with different percentages on it. Whatever they landed on, they got that percentage of the money deducted. Make it to square number 63, and you won the money. But that wasn't the end. In Season 1, there was a challenge known as the Reoka, or a challenge outside of the show. If the contestant succeeded, they won a car. If they didn't, well, they didn't. Oh yeah, and an episode of this show is usually like the length of a full feature-length movie, so they fill for time. A lot. Wall hour, or even 90-minute game shows are something I'm used to as a Survivor fan. Never before have I seen a game show that could run for up to 3 hours. That is something unseen. And it is also just not a good way to have a show work. Hell, in the first episode, they took 3 minutes just to air an ad for Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo. Now, I like Nintendo, but this is just like state-sponsored Nintendo worship. Trust me guys, they aren't the... Yeah, I'm just gonna stop here. The thing is, while attention spans were longer back in the day, this show could not be made up to 3 hours long today. Modern attention spans are way too short for a show like this to be made today. Sure, advertisements are a way to make the show shorter, but this show is full of unnecessary filler. There are ways to condense a show down to an hour and a half, or even an hour. And sure, this show has its moments where it's genuinely good. It has a franchise that aired in numerous Spanish-speaking countries, but I don't know if I can finish a full episode without skipping around. So, ultimately, El Gran Juego de Locura is a good show, but it has 2 of the following problems. 1, it's too long.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I added that in there because I knew one of you were going to make that joke. In addition to that, this show cannot, and I repeat, cannot be made in the year of our Lord, 2026, without massive changes. If a show like this were made today, they not only have to cut down for time, but make changes to the more problematic portions of the show. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Soy Duality Dosman, y los veré en la otra cara.